This week on Geek Crash Course, pirates, vampires, huge monsters, and most importantly, books. That's right, I'm covering the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I'm Dekajlo, and this is Geek Crash Course East. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is a line of comics and graphic novels with one questionable feature film that features a Justice League-style team of literary characters and is basically all of my nerd fantasies come true. Written by Alan Moore, the first issue was published in 1999. There were two 6-issue comics, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Volumes 1 and 2, graphic novel The Black Dossier, Volume 3, Century, with 3 mini-stories that take place over the course of 100 years, and Nemo, Heart of Ice. There was also the 2003 movie, LXG is being given another chance at live action. In an attempt to jump on the trend of once and grim, Fox has ordered an LXG pilot that must air whether it goes to series or not. You'll recognize many, if not all, of the characters in the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen because they're pulled from other notable works of fiction. Also, we've covered many of these characters in our Academic August GCCs. Be sure to check them out for more information. The League, from Volume 1, includes Mina Harker from Bram Stoker's Dracula. She's cunning and vicious and was bitten by the vampire Dracula and helps run the League with Campion Bond, a British intelligence officer and, yes, the grandfather of James Bond, who takes the lead on recruiting the members of the League. Captain Nemo from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne captains the ship the Nautilus, which is the main vessel and mobile HQ of the League. He's a pirate and skilled martial artist. Ishmael is Nemo's first mate and the narrator from Moby Dick. Alan Quatermain is the main character from the King Solomon's Mine series. A professional hunter and unparalleled marksman, he's got animal-like instincts and has surprisingly progressive views for the time period from which he originates. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde are the eponymous characters from the Robert Louis Stevenson short story. Dr. Jekyll is a scientist who has discovered the formula to turn himself into a monstrous, gigantic creature dubbed Mr. Hyde. He's basically the Hulk from the 1800s. The Invisible Man, or Hawley Griffin, is the scientist from the H.G. Wells novel that gets recruited into the League when they find him doing, well, what most men would do if they were invisible. You know, with the ladies. Mycroft Holmes is the older and just as brilliant brother of Sherlock Holmes who takes over running the League from Campion Bond. And added in Volume 2 of LXG is John Carter. He's originally from a pulp magazine in the early 20th century. He's a Confederate Civil War soldier that's transported to Mars. Because Mars's gravity is less than that of Earth, he finds himself with superhero-like powers compared to the other creatures on the planet. The bad guys. Fu Manchu, or for copyright reasons, the Doctor in the LXG series, is a character from many books, movies, and other stories who's today's archetype of the evil genius. He also lends his name to the mustache. Professor James Moriarty is Sherlock Holmes' nemesis. He's an evil mastermind and the only character whose plans could hope to match up to the League's variety of wit, wisdom, and brute force. The tripods from the War of the Worlds are 3-legged alien death robots that come to Earth and try to kill everyone. His mustache itches. Richard Roxburgh played Moriarty in the 2003 film adaptation of LXG. A year before, he played Sherlock in BBC's adaptation of The Hound of Baskerville, making him one of the few actors in history to have played both Sherlock and Moriarty. Volume 1 is the first volume that follows the colorful recruitment of the members of the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and their attempts to thwart Fu Manchu and Moriarty, who've stolen Britain's supply of cavorite, a fictional material that reverses the effects of gravity. They're putting a damper on Britain's plan to land on the moon using the substance. Fu and Moriarty are actually building flying warships to bomb the crap out of Europe and take over the world. The story is resolved using a hot air balloon and a lot of action. Volume 2 is a retelling of the War of the Worlds, but with the League fighting the tripods instead of the unnamed protagonist from the original H.G. Wells story. The Century series is a story told over the course of 100 years, with occultists attempting to bring the Antichrist into the world and end it. Unlike other members of the League, Campion Bond does not find his origins in literature. The creators of LXG couldn't find a literary character to lead the League, so they made one up. But keeping in the style of LXG, they made him the ancestor of a notable character. Homework. Volumes 1 and 2 of LXG are pretty incredible as a whole. The writing is great, the illustrations by Kevin O'Neill are fantastic, and they're just so good. Read them. However, they're not for younger readers, since some of the origins and intertwining of the characters gets uncomfortable. Mileage may vary. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was adapted into a 2003 feature film starring Sean Connery. I think the film visually represents the comics really well, but the writing and story... It's a Victorian steampunky kind of a movie, and they added Tom Sawyer so that there was a young American character. Also, they couldn't get the rights to the Invisible Man, so the character is just an Invisible Man. Do with that what you will. There's a standalone spin-off called The Black Dossier, which follows Quatermain and Mina Harker after the fall of Big Brother in 1984 because they're immortal now for reasons. It delves into a weirdly meta history of the League, and it's all very strange. What would the lineup for your fictional evil-fighting dream team be? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to subscribe for more Geek Crash Course. According to one of the producers of the 2003 film, production on the concept was started before the first volume was even published. This may explain some of the significant differences between the comic and the movie. That's it for this week's Geek Crash Course on the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. If you have any questions, you can find Geek Crash Course on Twitter, Facebook, and our website, geekcrashcourse.com. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Geek Crash Course East. I want to say Quatermain, but that's not technically correct, and I want to say Quatermain, but then it sounds like I'm losing all of the letters in the word. So it's going to be wrong. Someone on the internet's going to yell at me, and I can't say it. I can't do it. I can't do it.